¿Qué pasa, mi gente? Welcome to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about how to find epic filming and photo locations near you in whatever city around the US, the world, etc. My name is Pedro Millán. If this is your first time coming to this channel, I own two SMMAs, literally profitable at more than multiple six figures at this point, more than 50 million views, 100 appointments, and a Grammy to my name. And I don't want to sell you anything. I just want you to make better content. So I just want to make it very, very clear in this video. You don't have to live in Iceland to essentially get crazy visuals. You don't have to see the Northern Lights. You don't have to see volcanoes erupting, okay? You just need to stop sleeping on what's around you. And a lot of people that watch this video, they'll be like, but I don't live anywhere cool, Pedro. I don't live anywhere that's interesting. Like, I don't live in Miami like you do. I don't live in this, that, and whatever. But I'm going to be honest, by the end of this video, you'll be able to know exactly how to build a portfolio of places where you can actually go film as a photographer and videographer. So that way you can take some epic filming and photo shots for your portfolio or for whatever you're trying to develop in your career. So first of all, I want to address to you that the mindset that you need to have in order to find these places is that there are cool spots everywhere. Okay, everywhere. Good locations are essentially a combination of lighting, texture, depth, and not just necessarily famous landmarks. Like if you go to Miami, like literally right now, people, the first thing that they want to do and go see is Miami Beach. And there's so many interesting places in Miami alone, like Miami-Dade County, that literally blow Miami Beach out of the water more times than one. Like, for example, if you were to have a situation or a place where you can find a lot of garages, a lot of stairwells, a lot of random walls, a lot of overpasses, maybe even industrial areas. Like you can find really amazing places to shoot, not only for film, but on top of that for your own or original content, right? Because the principle is essentially like you're trying to adopt a location hunter mentality overall, whereas literally every walk, every drive that you take, every single time that you literally go outside, you find a new place, or every so often find a place that you can add to your list of places where you actually can shoot, so you never have an issue getting to places or finding places, especially if you move to a new place or if you're in a different area based upon some project work and whatnot. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that you have to do some online scouting, okay? There is no better research tool than the internet. And to be quite honest with you, first of all, social media, shout out to social media. You can literally search up your city on Instagram or TikTok, where most people live right now, where they basically use location tags. And on top of that, hashtags within your specific city being like, oh, Miami photo shoot, or oh, Miami photo shoot city, blah, blah, blah. Any hashtags that are relevant to your city that are linked to a video shoot or photography shoot overall, and using the location tags consistently. So it's like literally a no-brainer. Like you could just pause this video and check the rest of the stuff out. And it's absolutely amazing. On top of that, you can literally scroll reels and shorts for hours looking for places where people actually take photos or videos on a consistent basis, and look how people use those spaces. So let's say, for example, you find like a really cool arts garage that's open to the public. Well, look at the person who's actually using it, and then maybe that could be a reference point as to what are you going to use it for within your photo shoot or your video shoot that you're going to do with a client, right? Cool. And on top of that, I would also look in the comment section of these reels and shorts, where people like videographers and photographers literally have this conversation with themselves and other people in their niche or their industry, basically talking about really cool stuff that's around in that specific area. Because more often than not, they'll be like, oh, you're shooting Fort Lauderdale? I love the restaurant that's like literally down the street. Like, cool. Or like, I love this area, like blah, 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 for whatever reason. It happens literally all the time. Now, the next thing as far as online scouting that you can do is that you can literally take a snapshot of whatever you see on social media, and you can reverse image search it on ChatGPT. You can literally find an interesting location and just drop it into whatever AI prompt-based platform that you use on a consistent basis, and you go like, where was this shot? Show me similar spots nearby. Show me similar spots that are similar to this nearby, etc. And then you basically have AI tell you what those places are. In addition, quick tip, If you're going on a road trip to somewhere else, like cross state, you could also ask ChatGPT, hey, I'm a videographer and a photographer. I need places in order to shoot for my YouTube video or to do a shoot for somebody that I'm passing through from one state to the next. Can you help me? Simple. And then Lily will spit out at least a good starting point, more so than anything else, on the places that you should go shoot for your videos or photos, right? And then the third one is essentially dedicated location sites. Like, for example, like a Peerspace or essentially similar platforms, or WeWork, like offices in which that you pay for a membership in order to get client shoots to happen on a consistent basis, especially since you have to pay to get in anyway. And these are essentially places in which that you can literally do brand shoots for. Like if you said, I needed a guaranteed look and like no security guard kicking me out, but I also need the place to look like I'm shooting it at a studio or like a loft or a penthouse or maybe an industrial look or maybe some very creative walls that aren't necessarily public, maybe some airports, maybe some jets or a studio that looks like a jet, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And even if you don't book, you can essentially use it for inspiration for shoots into the future and to essentially reverse engineer those looks within the set that you currently have. Let's say you have a garage where you basically can do shoots on your own. Then basically all you have to buy is just the props that were within that studio off rip and then just put them into your own studio, depending on what the shoot looks like. I was like, don't buy a jet, okay? And then another really good dedicated location site where you can get you can pay to get in at least is Shot Hotspot, right? It's essentially like a website where you look up a city where a user submitted a specific place for photo locations. So like, for example, you could filter out like urban, landscape, abandoned, industrial, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that you literally check out the abandoned spots that if they're accessible to the public, because sometimes you have to check out the legality if you're trespassing or not. And yes, I guess like do everything for the shot, but you don't want to be arrested. You know what I'm saying? You want to make movies, you want to make content. You don't want to be doing that from jail. Okay. So just check out Shot Hotspot in addition to all the rest of these online resources that we got. Now, here's my favorite, actually more so than anything else, right? So I love scouting in real life, IRL, for all the people who are watching this, essentially getting out of the car. And the way that you can do this is either by walking, biking, or public transit. To be honest with you, I don't got time to walk to places from point A to point B. But I would say every once in a while, like maybe like once every 2 weeks, like I'll go out to just look for places in order to film. Like you're always going to move slowly walking, but on a bike and just using public transit overall, you're forced to make your directions go through alleyways, murals, side streets, and then eventually you find really cool spots that you wouldn't have even realized up until that point in time in which you actually go out to scout, right? And you just want to make sure that you grab a photo, right, and essentially drop a pin into your Google Maps or Apple Maps, whatever it is that you use. Just make sure that it's like easy to stop, like it's not like in the middle of the street or something. And making sure that it's if it's a dense city like Los Angeles, like Miami, like New York, just rent a bike or a scooter or just ride around the neighborhood for an hour, like within your general vicinity, right? Like I live in Miami, there's plenty of cities in order to do that. And just make sure that you're safe and you're aware of your surroundings. And you do this during the day, not during the night, because that'd be a little weird. Now, the next thing that you could do besides like the public transit, bike, and walking, you could talk to the locals, right? Like let's say, for example, you're in a shoot in Australia because you're a videographer and you got the gig, right? Well, while you're there, especially if you're going to make content for yourself rather than your actual job, you ask the barista, you ask the skaters that are running around, you ask the security guards, you ask people who work in the restaurants, you ask Uber drivers, like, what are the best views? Where are the best views? Like, where do people take photos off rip on a consistent basis that's not necessarily touristy, right? The locals will send you to a place that is catered towards your likes and dislikes. They're going to be like, oh, you don't like nature? Yeah, you should just go to the city and check out these spots. Or like, oh, you love off-roading? Like, you could definitely check out these spots and just don't even worry about the touristy places. Very simple. Next one is essentially going hiking and nature scouting, okay? This is kind of in tandem of like the walking situation, right? You could use apps actually that generate general trails or tell you where to go as far as trails are concerned, so that way you can actually check them out later for overall nature trails and just like overlooks of the city, of nature exhibits, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which are all trails. On X Backcountry, which I've used in the past, and similar trail apps that you can use in order to figure these out, and essentially just look for view or overlook or ridge or boulders or waterfall in the name or the search bar, and it'll show you exactly where to go. Also, while hiking, make sure to drop pins when you see interesting trees, rocks, or anything like clearings. I love clearings more so than anything else when I go hiking. I wish I had some footage of those times that I actually were in these places, but anyway, but that's besides the point. You want to make sure that you have a reference photo so that way you can be like, oh, this is the place where I proposed to my wife at a clearing shot that I want to use again for a movie that I want to do. Or like, this is a place where I took my best friend when we went on our hiking trip, and this would be a really great place to do a motocross project. You know what I'm saying? And the next thing is essentially geocaching, or essentially like, I don't know how to explain this, but it's essentially like apps that know exactly the trajectory of where everything is considered, like as far as the landscape. Like there, you could literally have apps to basically discover like random corners of your city that you would have never encountered otherwise, to be quite honest with you. And they have these like little apps that where you literally have a map and where you can just find stuff for people. And with these specific apps, you're already going outside. So it's kind of like a incentive for you to find the thing that's actually within these geocaching exploration apps and whatever. They're not necessarily like mandatory, but I just think they're a really awesome comparison or tool that you could use in order to get outside, or any reason to get outside, right? You could do this with anything that you genuinely enjoy, whether it be with geocaching, with going to the gym, with going outside with your friends. Like, it can be literally anything, and just make it fun, right? Like, literally do all this in a day where it's like, I'm going to go out to eat in 3 different places, and I'm going to happen to check out the area within those 3 places, or like a mile radius of those 3 places in this specific neighborhood, right? And then you literally generate your own little portfolio of places where you want to go. Now, the next thing is building your personal location database. And the way that I do this is either on Apple Maps or Google Maps. And the reason why I say you need a location base overall, or sorry, location bank, is because when you're focused on volume, or essentially creating films or creating content on a consistent basis within a specific city, you don't necessarily have time to think, it's like, where should I film next? Or where should I shoot today? And it's always an issue, especially when I'm working with my clients, just literally looking for a place to freaking shoot. So you can literally just open your map and just instantly see 10 different options, or even 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, depending on how much you've explored, within like 2 minutes. And that's awesome. You can just be like, oh yeah, this is the place where that mall is at. Or like, oh yeah, this is that place where like all the crazy kooky attractions are. Oh yeah, this is where the old abandoned theater is at. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could check out all those places within literally a 5-minute time frame. And then you never have to think about looking for places ever again. And as you consistently scout, more places will show up. So how do you set this up on Google Maps or on Apple Maps? Well, if you're stubborn like me, I usually want to use one of them, but if it's in the, like, if you use Google Maps, then fantastic. If you use Apple Maps, fantastic. But like, you want to make sure no matter what you're using, whether it be Google Maps or Apple Maps, you want to switch to satellite view. Mainly so you can see the terrain as far as where everything is at. Like if there's a certain amount of elevation, depending on what city is at, or if there's a rooftop, or if there's a field, are you on a building, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then essentially from each of the pins that you create, you want to make sure that they're either labels, which I know for a fact they're on Google Maps, or just essentially a custom pin list. You want to make sure that they're separated and segregated into ways that you can recollect very quickly. So like, for example, let's say like you have 10 locations in this one specific location, and it's essentially, it has like a camera emoji. So you know for a fact that that's a filming location, right? Let's say like you have a whole list for like arts garages where you can take really nice portraiture or photos for products and whatnot. You put a little other camera emoji, but this would be a regular camera emoji, not a film camera emoji. Another one Could be like, oh, places for drones, like drone shots, like where you could do FPV stuff, where the airspace is actually cool and you don't have to like worry about like, helicopters coming through and wrecking your stuff, or birds or whatever it is. And the next thing could be like foods or cafe spots in general, where you can get like B-roll for like vlogging or for other different types of styles of content, right? And you want to make sure that you save each location with a specific short name, being the date that you went, and essentially something along the lines of how you can recollect the specific spot, so that way you can actually remember like what the heck this would be used for. For example, this was used and it's perfect for golden hour. It's western facing. There's really good audio, really good music. Street lights look cinematic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's up to you, right? And up to individual taste. So the next thing to do, once you have this whole list, right, you want to take into consideration what's the best time to record, or what to record in each pin, right? Like the best time to shoot, like light direction, depending on where the sun sets, like what is the noise level? Is there going to be a lot of people usually? If there are, what at different times? Accessibility, like is it available towards the morning? Like is it like sectioned off in the evening? Like what are the drone rules, etc., like I mentioned before? Like what is the cell reception strength, etc., 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 for to coordinate different crews and stuff like that, depending on what your shooting style is, if you're doing solo or with a crew. And next thing that we want to talk about is light and timing, okay? Especially trying to find a really good spot. You want to make sure that like the best lighting situations for anything as far as cinematic, it would essentially be golden hour and blue hour, right? Golden hour essentially like around 4 p.m. To 5 p.m. or 3:30 to 5 p.m. depending on where you are in the world. Usually a soft, warm, fluttering light through the object that you're taking into consideration. That's a cheat code, by the way. Blue hour, essentially the point immediately after a sunset, which is essentially like around 6, 7 p.m. Also dependent on where you're literally at in the world, which would be more cinematic, more blue, more for neon, maybe urban types of situation. Think like cyberpunk, you know what I'm saying? Really good apps to use in order to dictate where the sun is going to be at, and the lighting situation would be like Sunseeker. I feel like a lot of people have talked about this on YouTube overall, but I'm just basically reiterating the fact. Sunseeker, literally amazing for figuring out where the sun's going to be, on top of the fact how you can most optimize golden hour over anything else, or blue hour, depending on what you want to do. And then on top of that, figuring out like shade and light maps. So you can literally check these out. They have apps for this where you can check out if where's the light going to be and how's it going to affect the shade of a specific terrain, especially if you're shooting outside. If you're shooting in a controlled environment, doesn't matter. But like if you're just literally shooting like in Arizona or like the Carolinas or anywhere where there's like mountains and stuff, it really freaking sucks that you're there for golden hour and then all of a sudden there's no light anymore. So just take that into consideration. And once you do that, you can essentially plan all of your shoots around light, not just location, right? So let's say, for example, you want to do the same spot that you just went to, but you just missed golden hour. So now you know, like, all right, well, we have to show up at this specific time in order to get golden hour on lock, or we have to show up at this specific hour to get blue hour on lock. And essentially, some locations are only worth it at sunset or at sunrise or at blue hour or at golden hour. So you want to note that in your map overall. And then the next thing is essentially maximizing each location for content efficiency. The reason why I say that is because we want to make sure that every single shoot that we do, especially for your own content as a videographer or as somebody that's doing content for other people, you want to make sure that everybody has multiple outfits, okay? You want to make sure that at every location you're using the walls with different outfits, the stairs with different outfits, the alleyways with different outfits, the open streets with different outfits, the rooftops with different outfits, all within a small radius, and especially looking for locations with multiple locations in that small radius, so that way you can set up multiple shots with different outfits and shoot different day content on the same day or same location, right? So like, let's say, for example, you're shooting movement shots for like selling joggers for products, or doing detail shots for more like B-roll shots, right? Or like mid head shots or mid shots in order to do talking head or like more tutorial style videos, or even a wide establishing shot for a movie or YouTube video or even a video essay. You want to make sure that no matter where you are, you maximize every single point in the specific place. So that way you're always going to have a long stream of content for your videos now and into the future. You got to be thinking like a time traveler when you be going to do some content for people overall. And then the next thing, more so with maximizing each location, you want to make sure that you're matching your locations with your brand, right? So like if you're a money brand, if you do more freedom content, if you do more corporate content, you probably are going to end up in like really nice restaurants, offices, maybe even look for city views. If you're doing cinematography or filmmaking, you're probably going to do tunnels. You're probably going to do a lot of really sketchy places that can be used for artistic shots, maybe texture heavy architecture, like to give you an example, like the Il Duomo church in Milan, if you're out there, for all my Italians. And then maybe you might be doing a nature shot, like you want to like basically demonstrate like motivation, or if you're a marathon runner, like I just ran a marathon, like marathon content, like trails, tracks, coastal paths, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, with somebody just running across them, right? But overall, I hope this was helpful. I also want to stress, make sure to check out the safety and the legality and just respect the overall places. Like, don't be a nuisance when you're filming. Like, make sure that these are specific, really good hours in order to film within the specific place. On top of that, clean up after yourself. Like, if you're literally going to these places, you want to make sure that you're not necessarily a nuisance either with your equipment or with your crew or by yourself with your subject. You want to make sure that you're literally there to do a job and to make sure that you're not trespassing just to do a cool shot, because that will end up in fines or the cops killing the vibe, maybe even taking you to prison. And you don't want to do that just based off your own artistic venture. So I hope that video was very useful. I thought it was useful. I put a lot of gems in here, but if you liked the video and just overall the vibe of this video and the banana on the microphone, I'm trying different stuff so people can be more engaged. But if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe and to put your bell notifications on, because I put videos out like this every single day. You don't want to miss them. Otherwise, because I literally put videos about content making, filmmaking, personal branding, marketing, social media marketing. And it would be awesome if I had more subscribers, especially people watching my videos. Otherwise, if you're a videographer and you actually want to make money with your video skills, but essentially developing a social media marketing agency, you can click the first link in the description. You basically go to our course, which is absolutely amazing, and learn how to do that and make a multi-six-figure business very simply in less than a year. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great day, and watch this video that YouTube is recommending to you if you want. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.